Hi, welcome back to my channel. This is Jennifer Scrapping Cane. Today's layout is a single 8.5 by 11 layout, and I do have one photo and actually use only one pattern paper on this background. Besides the scrap piece that you see here just below the ephemera pack that I'm going to use to map my photo. But other than that, that's the only pattern paper that's going to be used on the layout. I absolutely love this pattern paper by Simple Stories from their collection. Oh, what is it called? Winter something. It just came out. It's a brand new collection. I will pop the name down in the description, but it's a brand new collection. So it just came out, and I absolutely love this background paper. So I was trying to figure out how I could use it to do my 8.5 by 11, but obviously I'm gonna have to cut it. So I was trying to decide where I was gonna actually cut it. And you'll see here in a minute after I show you the sticker sheet that I do figure out a way to piece it back together so that I can actually make a layout with it um, and use it on an 8.5 by 11 format. So I really like the way that it turns out in the end. You, I don't know if you can tell, there is a pattern paper below the other one that I was just talking about, but I'm actually not going to bring it in. I thought I was going to, but I decided not to. So here first, I'm just inking up the edges of my photo and on my photo mat, and I'm going to mat my photo. I will mat it on white cardstock and then on this brown pattern paper, which is from Echo Park, I believe. That's a different Echo Park collection. So I decided to just use that brown because it matched and I want my little photo to pop. And it's just his hand, my youngest son's hand, and on top of my hand. And I just thought it was so cute. He used to love to hold your hand as he was falling asleep. And, he would just play with your hand while he was falling asleep. But his hand now is as big as my hand. So this one's kind of bittersweet that, his little tiny hand fit in the palm of my hand at one point in time. Not anymore. Here I was still trying to decide if I was going to put that paper behind it or not and how I'm going to do this. I do have a clear page protector on top of the layout. That's how I like kind of guess and decide how I'm going to cut the paper if I'm using a paper like this that has a design, but I want to salvage some of the design and be able just to shrink it down to an 8.5 by 11. So I decided to go ahead and tear the top piece off. Basically, that was an inch, so now it's 11 inches, and I'm going to add it back in, but um, it's going to go behind. So I will tear it a little bit more, I believe. Here in a minute, you'll see me tear it again because it needs to be teared down just a little bit more because obviously it's not gonna, um, it needs to be a little bit lower than 11 inches. There you go. So I believe I took off like another quarter or half an inch or so that I could stick that paper behind it. Um, and I was trying to tear it straight. I didn't tear it very straight, but it's okay. In the end, it works out fine. Um, so there, I went ahead and decided to cut the paper, and I wanted to piece the other side back on it though, because I really like the way they have like papers layered up on it, but of course it's flat. But I still really like the look of it. So I was trying to figure out how I was going to keep this together, but you know, piece it back together, but not take too much away from it. So I do decide to go ahead and just line up the notebook paper, and it's going to be a little bit thinner than what it showed on the original 12 by 12 is how I decide to go. But first I'm going to sit here and play with it back and forth, back and forth. I always check and recheck before I actually cut the papers. I only had one sheet of this paper, so if I messed it up, I wasn't going to be using this paper on my layout. So I kept messing with it and trying to make sure that, it was going to work the way that I wanted it to. And in the end, I really like the way this layout turns out. So that's what I ended up doing. I just laid it right on the top. I'm going to have to trim the bottom again a little bit more because it didn't perfectly line up with it unless I put it a little bit higher than the bottom. So, and it wasn't much. It was only like maybe a quarter of an inch. So putting that other piece that I have laying over there to the side on the left at the top is going to work out perfectly. But first, I'm going to ink up the edges all the way around the edge of the outside. And that was using, what is that? Stays on ink. I believe it's called chestnut or something like that. It's the brown color, it's not black. Timber brown, actually, is what it's called. So I was deciding if I was going to flip it over and use the blue side or I wanted to just go ahead and make it look the way that it did before. I do decide to go with the brown here in a minute. And again, just using my page protector to figure out where I need to cut it and how much of it's actually going to show. But, and not a lot of it shows. It doesn't show as much as it did, but you definitely can see the green peeking out from the top where it was before. And then I'm going to go all the way across and then just trim off that other side. And then I'll ink up the edges of that one so that it matches. And then I'm going to place it right behind there. And then I'm going to lay my photo on top. And I'm going to cover up the branches that you see on the right hand side on the paper already. Since I have the ephemera pack and a lot of those same branches come in the ephemera pack, I'm going to re-add them down. But I want them to be dimensional. So that's going to add a little bit more to the layout versus all of it being flat. Um, some of the pre-designed papers are really hard to use usually. So for me, it was better to play with this one and make it my own. So that's how I decided to make it my own, by covering up most of the pre-design of the branches and then add more of those branches back in, but in my own way. So hopefully that makes sense. So that's what I'm doing here. I'm deciding which ones I'm going to actually use. Um, that pine cone I kind of liked, but it was a little bit too big. So it's actually not going to make it on the layout. So I place it to the side there. And I did tuck one of the little branches in already. This one here I'm going to go ahead and tuck in. And I'm going to pop it up with pop dots. I'm not going to pop up the photo. I'm only popping up the flower or the little branch. It has, I guess it would be like, I don't know. I guess it's a flower, a leaf. Um, it has leaves and stuff on it, but it doesn't really have flowers on it. Kind of looks like eucalyptus to me, but I don't think that's what it is. But anyways, so all the little branches I did pop up on little bit of either play foam or pop dots. And I'm going to tuck them in behind the photo and around the photo. I was deciding if I was going to fully attach it down just yet. I'm getting ready to, but I haven't attached it down just yet. I'm still trying to play with the branches and get them put in place before I completely push it down. So this one here I actually put down, and actually a little bit too far out because it's going to hang over the edge of the layout and I'm going to have to cut it off. But it's okay. I make it look okay in the end. But I should have tucked it down a little bit more. But I couldn't move it. Once it was stuck to those pop dots, it was not moving anywhere. So I just went ahead and went with it. Like I said, I'll cut off a little piece of it. I'll glue a little piece back on. And it's okay. It looks fine. Nobody's going to know, except for everybody that just watched me do it. But I really like the way it looks in the end, so it's okay. I'm going to bring in That was a little sticker at the top. This one too was a sticker, and it looks like the tags, like two little tags layered up together. And I was trying to cover up the seam, but not completely. So part of the seam is still going to be showing on the layout in the end, but since it's lined up so well, you really can't tell. And it's fine. It's a scrapbooking layout. It's homemade. It's perfect in the end because it documents the photo so well. So I'm okay with it. I'm going to pop in a few little stickers here and there, little branches up there at the top with that those tickets. Like I said, I just keep playing with everything and popping in more and more stickers or ephemera pieces. And over here, I popped in another little tag, some more little branches. Since there's branches over there already sticking out, I wanted to add more. And then here, I'm inking up these little label pieces. One of them says, cold hands, warm hearts. And then, baby, it's cold outside. Snuggle weather, these moments, and then let's chill. And I am going to use them all on the layout. And they will change spots as far as where they're going to go at. But I will tell you when I decide to change them from their spot. I try to leave in as much of the process as I could, since if there's any other 8.5 by 11 scrapbookers that are watching, please shout out. I would love to know that there's other people that still scrapbook 8.5 by 11 and that I'm not the only one. I don't think I am, but sometimes I feel like I am. And, you know, you can see how I was able to make this 12 by 12 work and turn into an 8.5 by 11. So just inking up the edges of all the stickers. I shouldn't say all the stickers. I didn't ink up the edges of the tickets or anything, only the labels. So only the ones with the words on them. So I'm going to pop dot them all up also. So up there at the top, originally I put baby it's cold outside, but I am going to change it to the cold hands and warm hearts instead, because I'm going to bring in some simple stories wood grain letters and put love underneath that one at the top. I was going to leave a place for journaling up there at the top, but there's not really anything to journal about. So if I do journal anything, I'm just going to write it on the back of the layout. There's a whole big blue space on the back of the layout to write. So that's where I'll probably write it. Um, Sorry, I keep saying trying to figure out what I'm still doing over here, but I think I'm just layering up the labels. The labels were from the sticker sheet. Each of them were from the sticker sheet, but the ones that look like they have like stripes in a darker blue or a lighter blue, they had other words on them. So I put the words that I wanted on top of them. And some of, actually, all three of them, I cut and then repieced them back together because they would have been the wrong length. So to make them a little bit shorter, I just trimmed them and then repieced them back together. So hopefully you guys can see that in the video. You definitely can see it in the close-ups if you look closely. And then if you have the sticker sheet, if you look at the sticker sheet, you'll know that the words changed. And I changed those words to fit my layout. And I like the way that it looks. I don't care that I used, multiple stickers instead of just using one sticker. But it adds to the design, and I really like the way that it looks in the end. Here I'm playing with these snowflakes, which are the ones that came in the ephemera pack. And I was trying to decide if I'm going to actually use them on the layout or not. Spoiler alert, they do not make it on the layout. Um, I was laying them all down and then I had to go cook dinner. So I actually stopped filming and I will come back here in just a minute and show you what I decide to do instead of the snowflakes. But first I put them all down, was trying to decide, and nope, I took them all off. So you can see they're all missing now. I added love and I did add, I moved the stickers around. Like I said, I put the darker one at the top and the lighter one at the bottom. This pine cone, I decided to use a larger pine cone than what I originally had there when I paused it to go make dinner. And I'm just going to bring that one in and tuck it behind the other one. I thought it kind of represents the two hands, one's bigger than the other. And then I added Let's Chill up there above the photo. So there's three of those little banner ones that say the three different things. Those are the wood grain letters that I used for love. In here in just a minute. I believe I leave it all in. I'm going to put in that white package that you see to the right is snowflakes. And they're pretty small. They're not very big at all. But I'm going to use the tiniest little flatback pearl that I have and put it on top of those snowflakes. So I'm going to add light blue, dark blue, and green to each of the clusters with those snowflakes. And I really like the way that it turned out. So I was okay with using a little snowflake and a little flatback pearl. I thought it looked pretty cute. And it was smaller than the ones in the ephemera pack. That's why I went this route instead of using the ones that were already in the ephemera pack. They were too large in the ephemera pack. So these ones are a lot smaller, and it's the little tiny embellishment that you add at the end of your layouts if you like to do that. And I definitely like to add finishing touches, is what I call them, at the end of my layout. So usually I use the flatback pearls or sequins or just something that is small, like a little enamel dots. Sometimes I use the little puffy stickers if I have those from the collection and they're tiny. Sometimes I'll add those to the clusters, but that's my little finishing touch. So that's what I'm doing here, and I'm just going around using liquid glue to add those on. And pretty much that's going to be it for today's layout. I will have a few close-ups here in just a minute. I hope you guys enjoyed watching how I was able to take a 12 by 12, turn it into an 8.5 by 11, and still keep pretty much the original design of the pattern paper. I really love the way that this layout turned out. I hope you guys do too. I will see you in the next video. Please like and subscribe. Bye.